just real briefly, last time we were talking about charging and discharging. And for conductors, we talked about charging and discharging by contact. And there's another method for charging a conductor, which is called charging by induction. Inducing a charge. And I wanted to actually try a demo, but I actually couldn't get it to work, so we'll just have to talk about it. But charging by induction basically means you don't have to put something in contact. Let's say you have an object that already has a charge on it, let's say a positive charge. And you start off with a neutral conductor, and then so you have some neutral conductor over here. Let's make it kind of longish. And you bring the neutral conductor near this positive charge. And what happens to it? It's a metal conductor. So if you bring it near a positive charge, what's going to happen? What do you mean by equalize? Okay, say again. So the charge comes from nowhere. It starts off with a zero charge and then gains a positive charge, even though it's not in contact. Loses negative charges. They're not in contact, right? These two conductors are not touching each other, so there's no conductive path for mobile electrons to travel from one to the other. But you've brought it in the presence of some charged object. So what's going to happen to the mobile electron C? It's going to polarize. Okay, that's the magic word. That's the magic word I was looking for, polarization, right? So what happens on this end? What do I draw? It becomes more negative, right? But what happens on the other end? It becomes more positive, okay? The total charge is still zero, right? We haven't actually put any net charge on this thing. We've just created a polarization. But what if I could then do this? I then split this thing in two. Somehow I have maybe some insulating grips so I don't have any charge leaking, and I just cut the thing in half. And now what have I created? I've got one object that does have a net negative charge, and the other object that now has a net positive charge, right? I take away the original conductor and separate these two things, and now you have a case where there is a net charge on one, an opposite net charge on the other, but the total charge, if you add up the total charge of the system, it stays the same, okay? So this is the way you could actually, if you wanted some object and you had two things that were in contact and you can separate them, you can induce a charge by just bringing it near some other charged object and then sort of physically separating the two ends, the two polarized ends, to have two charged objects left over. This is charging by induction, okay? So you may run into this, you might have a question on this for homework, okay?